wonderful people. Welcome back once again. Can you hear me okay? Enter the freaky.
What's up?
What's going on, man? Just saw the thing about the balloons again. Every day is a different story with this thing. What do you think, man? Is it
Don't have a clue anymore. Yeah, apparently, it looks like there's private companies or you know putting on unidentified objects in the sky
but it
and
doesn't make any sense.
yeah, I know, but how can the United States and Canada not be aware of something like this? Like there's private companies that are actually you know putting these things up in the in the sky,
It doesn't make any
sky
sense.
high that no one can reach them. It's by radar they could see they could detect them, but I have no clue how come it took so long, and had three unidentified objects flying over Canada and the US. It doesn't make any more sense. And then also finding excuses and accusing the other countries or you know um, spying on us or whatever. It's I don't know.
It just doesn't make any sense. He said that it might be just people playing around or something, or I don't get it.
That's like I said before. They should know who are these private companies that are actually doing that for for the weather or for anything or but yet it's still all up in the air and no one knows what's going on. And the president of the United States, Joe Biden, came back on again, and he's trying to, I don't know, cover up so many I don't understand them anymore. It's
When you first heard it, what did you think?
I don't believe in UFOs, so you could forget about that. That's out of the question. And unidentified objects, uh, it, I didn't believe that China could send something and go right through, the, you know, where you're not. I mean, they're not allowed. Is there's a barrier, in Alaska there, whatever, or wherever, there's they do, and there's radars, and they detect these things. So I don't believe it was anything that comes from China or from any other countries, but yet I thought it was just an experiment from these private companies. That I believe. They're doing some work, some updates or something more sophisticated, up in the sky, and where we can detect, the weather better, and also, earthquakes, or whatever, natural disaster, and up in the up on Earth, and in outer space. That's what I think.
Yeah, why did they wait so long before shooting it down then?
I don't have a clue, because there were. I don't know. I mean, I know it took quite a few. I don't know if it was quite a few weeks or quite a few days, but apparently it. They wanted to make sure that, you know. I mean, first of all, uh, they thought there was a threat. Okay, so that's why they shut them down. There was a threat for Canada and U.S.
Right.
But shooting it down, and not knowing, the aftermath. I mean, it could explode up in the sky, yeah, but it could have done really big damage, because underneath you got passenger flights, planes that are, going through. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's not a small object. It's a big freaking mama object that falls from the sky. So if you got a plane that's, just coming right through there, it would have hit it.
Yeah, but it was at a
Because
different altitude.
yeah, it's a different attitude and altitude, and but also it's in Alaska, so it's not too bad. But the other two that they detected, and they destroyed them. You got to be careful where they're gonna fall, and how, yeah, will they fall at sea, or will they fall at somebody's house? Meteorites, they fall in people's homes, and people get killed, or they fall on and anywhere, and the people got killed. So all these things have to be and taken with precaution, at the very, very, very beginning. But they didn't think. They just went up there and bang, 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 and they start shooting them down, and yet they don't even know to who they belong to. You know,
Let
it's
me let me play the clip from Biden earlier. It's about 6 minutes long,
yeah.
but half the time you can't even understand what he's saying. He's reading something, obviously.
Well, listen. He's getting very old. Okay, he's old. Okay,
Yeah,
and
you're a
I,
president. You gotta make sense what
yeah,
you're
oh
saying, man.
yes, yes, I know. But he's getting old. He's he's having a hard time. Okay, with pronunciation, and reading out of a script. I understand, but yet at some point it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make it. I mean, this is not his first interview. I mean, a lot of interviews, it just doesn't make any sense. Let's
Okay,
see.
well let's see what he had to say.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
let's
Go
see what he
ahead.
had to say.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Last week, in the immediate aftermath of the incursion by China's high altitude balloon, our military, through the North American Aerospace Defense Command, so called NORAD, closely scrutinized our airspace, including enhancing our radar to pick up more slow-moving objects above our country, around the world. In doing so, they tracked 3 unidentified objects, one in Alaska, Canada, and over Lake Huron in the Midwest. They acted in accordance with established parameters for determining how to deal with unidentified aerial objects in U.S. airspace. At their recommendation, I gave the order to take down these 3 objects due to hazards to civilian commercial air traffic and because we could not rule out the surveillance risk of sensitive facilities. We acted in consultation with the Canadian government. I spoke personally with Prime Minister Trudeau and from Canada on Saturday. And just as critically, we acted out of an abundance of caution and an opportunity that allowed us to take down these objects safely. Our military and the Canadian military are seeking to recover the debris so we can learn more about these 3 objects. Our intelligence community is still assessing all 3 incidences. They're reporting to me daily and will continue their urgent efforts to do so, and I will communicate that to the Congress. We don't yet know exactly what these 3 objects were, but nothing right now suggests they were related to China's spy balloon program or that they were surveillance vehicles from any other country. The intelligence community's current assessment is that these 3 objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies, recreation or research institutions studying weather or conducting other scientific research. When I came into office, I instructed our intelligence community to take a broad look at the phenomenon of unidentified aerial objects. We know that a range of entities, including countries, companies, and research organizations, operate objects at altitudes for purposes that are not nefarious, including legitimate scientific research. I want to be clear. We don't have any evidence that there has been a sudden increase in the number of objects in the sky. We're now just seeing more of them, partially because the steps we've taken to increase our radars, to narrow our radars. And we have to keep adapting our approach to dealing with these challenges. That's why I've directed my team to come back to me with sharper rules for how we will deal with these unidentified objects moving forward, distinguishing between those that are likely to pose safety and security risks that necessitate action and those that do not. But make no mistake, if any object presents a threat to the safety and security of the American people, I will take it down. I'll be sharing with Congress these classified policy parameters when they're completed, and they'll remain classified so we don't give our roadmap to our enemies to try to evade our defenses. Going forward, these parameters will guide what actions we'll take while responding to unmanned and unidentified aerial objects. We're going to keep adapting them as the challenges evolve, if it evolves. In addition, I've directed my national security advisor to lead a government-wide effort to make sure we are positioned to deal safely and effectively with the objects in our airspace. First, we will establish a better inventory of unmanned airborne objects in space above the United States airspace and make sure that inventory is accessible and up to date. Second, we'll implement further measures to improve our capacity to detect unmanned objects in our airspace. Third, we'll update the rules and regulations for launching and maintaining unmanned objects in the skies above the United States of America. And fourth, my Secretary of State will lead an effort to help establish common global norms in this largely unregulated space. These steps will lead to safer and more secure skies for our air travelers, our military, our scientists, and for people on the ground as well. That's my job as your President, Commander-in-Chief. As the events of the previous days have shown, we'll always act to protect the interest of the American people and the security of the American people. Since I came to office, we've developed the ability to identify, track, and study high-altitude surveillance balloons connected with the Chinese military. When one of these high-altitude surveillance balloons entered our airspace over the continental United States earlier in the month.
Wait until the end when the last minute, he almost got into an argument with the people interviewing him. Did you notice that, or did you catch that earlier? You did?
Yep.
Okay, it's coming up. It's about another 2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I gave the order to shoot it down as soon as it would be safe to do so. The military advised against shooting it down over land because of the sheer size of it. It was the size of multiple school buses and posed a risk to people on the ground if it was shot down where people lived. Instead, we tracked it closely, we analyzed its capabilities, and we learned more about how it operates. And because we knew its path, we were able to protect sensitive sites against collection. We waited until it was safely over water, which would not only protect civilians, but also enable us to recover substantial components for further analytics. And then,
But you see, again, he keeps mumbling and stumbling. He doesn't know what he's saying, and you can see he's reading it. He's reading
Well,
it from a teleprompter.
like I mentioned it to you before, he cannot just shoot it down and there's people living at the bottom there, and it's gonna fall on people's head.
Yeah, but I'm saying, why does he keep stumbling every time? He keeps mumbling and stumbling.
He's kind of old, and he's trying his best to keep up with what he's reading in there.
Let's
But
continue here.
it's obvious that I'm pretty sure it's their equipment. It's just that they don't know who's the company that has keeping these equipment visible, and they're not supposed to be so visible. They're supposed to be invisible, So I think it's all the Americans' equipment,
Let's see what else.
we shot it down, sending a clear message. The violation of our sovereignty is unacceptable. We'll act to protect our country, and we did. Now, this past Friday, we put restrictions on 6 firms that directly support.
But you see, he said he's protecting the country, but then he was saying it's not even from China. So what is he protecting you from?
It's not from China. It's not from any other country that he thinks that's a threat. Okay, it's no threat.
So where did they get the idea that it came from China? Because right from the beginning, they blamed China right away. Where did they come to this conclusion?
Then China came back and said, "Well, you know what? You're doing the same to us, okay?" And it really wasn't true. They said it was false. The Americans said it was false, and now they're turning around and they're saying, "Hey, you know what? That it's not Chinese." Invading us. It's something that we don't know. It's unidentified yet, and but it's coming from some private private companies, and I really don't know what's going on. I really don't know. Kind of weird. Kind of really weird. It's very, very weird.
What I'm saying is, why did they say it came from China?
Well, like I explained it to you, they think because with China, I mean, there's always a big, huge competition. You know that they compete with weapons, and they want to, superpower. They want to be always on top. The Americans, and they think China is leading the way and trying to find ways to invade.
But then why didn't they blame them then? Why did they quickly say it's not?
It's because they came out. China came to them and said, "You are invading our our space too. And you're sending the equipment to us too, and to spy on us too. So very quickly they said no, 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 and so now they're trying to hide it, that it's not coming from China. So these two superpowers are just playing around with the words, But
the People's Republic Liberation Army, the People's Liberation Army aerospace program that includes airships and balloons, denying them access to U.S. technology. We briefed our diplomatic partners and our allies around the world, and we know about China's program and where their balloons have flown. Some of them have also raised their concerns directly with China. Our exports have lifted components of the Chinese balloon's payload off the ocean floor. We're analyzing them as I speak, and what we learn will strengthen our capabilities. Now, we'll also continue to engage with China, as we have throughout the past 2 weeks. As I've said since the beginning of my administration, we seek competition, not conflict with China. We're not looking for a new Cold War, but I make no apologies. I make no apologies.
See, he sounds like he's scared. You see the way he's talking?
Yeah,
He's
because
scared.
there's no conflict but competition, and we do know where the balloons fly over in the world that come from China. They do know. They do detect. They know everything. The Americans. It's just that now they're saying, well, it's not China's balloon, blah blah blah, because China spoke and said, "Hey, you have balloons over us, over our country too, above us too, and we're, you're invading us too, So it's like a type of it is a conflict, but he's saying it's a competition. So
It's going in circles like a balloon, really.
that's right. It's like a balloon. It's going.
Yeah.
And we will compete. And we'll responsibly manage that competition so that it doesn't veer into conflict. This episode underscores the importance of maintaining open lines of communication between our diplomats and our military professionals. Our diplomats will be engaging further, and I will remain in communication with President Xi. I'm grateful for the work of the last several weeks of our intelligence, diplomatic, and military professionals who have proved once again to be the most capable in the world. And I want to thank you all. Now, look, the other thing I want to point out is that we are going to keep our allies and the Congress contemporaneously informed of all we know and all we learn. And I expect to be speaking with President Xi, and I hope we're going to get to the bottom of this. But I make no apologies for taking down that balloon. Thank you very much.
Now you're going to notice they're going to ask him questions. He's not going to answer very many, maybe a couple, but he even has attitude when he's asked because he doesn't know what to answer.
For sure.
Because a lot of people are saying this is a distraction.
Of course.
So what say you? Is it a distraction?
Well, let's hear it, because I just heard it once. I just saw it once.
Okay, check it out.
Much.
Sir, the question was it. There's been criticism. There's been criticism that this wasn't. There's been criticism that this.
By your family's business relations.
Sir, Mr. President, there has been criticism.
Did you overreact?
Mr. President, there has been criticism that this was an overreaction that was done because of political pressure.
You can come to my office and ask the question when you have more polite people.
Mr. President, why have you chosen Poland for your trip to mark anniversary of the war? And what's your message? What
Criticism that this was an.
At the end, what did he say? Something about Poland? What was Poland?
Well, it's because if the war in Ukraine, let's say the Russians win.
Yeah, but that's not Poland.
No, just listen to me, and I'll explain you. If Russia, the invasion wins the war, the next invasion will be Poland, even though it belongs to NATO. It's because the Soviet Union wants to be Putin, whatever his name is, Vladimir. There, he wants to start over the Soviet Union, the Communist Party. And you remember in the past, the Communist Party, Russia had all of Eastern Europe, okay? So if he's capable and wins the war in Ukraine, the next step, the next move will be Poland. So this is what the guy is saying, that if you were, you're telling me it's competition. This is, but you're conflicting already. You know that the Russians are with China, which I don't believe, because it is with nobody. China is so big and China is so superpower, doesn't need other countries to be to be with them, allies like the United States. But yet I see that this guy, President Biden, Joe Biden, is just trying to run away from what he said. These balloons probably are and not coming from China, but they are equipment that are flying over our country and over the U.S. and eventually they do fly out everywhere in the world. And it's an equipment that it's a company, private company, and they didn't know about these ones and they shut them down.
Well, I found that interesting, especially the last part, how he
Yeah,
just
well, last part, these,
veered from what he was talking about.
if it was President Trump, okay, Donald Trump, he would respond to everyone, the questions, and because he gets to the bottom of everything. Donald Trump, he tries to avoid, and he gets into trouble. At the end, he got himself into trouble because the people want to know. There's a lot of questions to be said, and a lot of questions to be answered, and he doesn't answer them.
Do you think it's ever going to come out? He's going to say what he meant to say there at the end, because people had questions for him.
Oh no. I don't think so, because he's I mean, it took what, 2-3 weeks to go up there and call Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and get this settled. And
Yeah, but Trudeau did it in a day. This guy took almost 4 days.
yes, I'm just trying to say that it doesn't take 2-3 weeks to see that, hey, what are these unidentified objects and balloons flying over our countries. That doesn't make any freaking sense. If I was the president, right away I would say, guys, okay, don't shoot it where it's where people live, or just be careful and shoot it down at sea, and then we could we covered all the objects, because when they fall at sea, they float. They don't go down. Some of them float, some of them go down, but they don't really break as if they fall on people's homes or people's yards or in the streets or whatever. But yet, I find that at the very, very end, this is Joe Biden. He doesn't take his time to explain that there's other steps that we're gonna take, and we're gonna see, but up to now, they cannot say it's China. They did, but then when China fought back and said, "Hey, you know what? You're doing the same," and blah blah blah, and bang, he stopped.
Let's catch the tail end of it one more time, and then we might take some calls. So just let's hear this one more time here at the end.
Sure.
And then if people have questions for us, we'll help them out.
Yes, of course.
Make no apologies for taking down that balloon. Thank you very much.
Why have you chosen Poland for your
Sir,
trip? And
sir, the
what
question
message
was it?
do you want to
There's been,
send?
sir. There's been criticism. There's been criticism that this wasn't. There's been criticism that this.
You're trying to compromise by your family's business relationships.
Sir, Mr. President, Mr. President, there has
Give
been
me a break,
criticism.
man.
Did you overreact?
Mr. President, there has been criticism.
Is this Albert? Albert, are you there? Hello, Albert. Do have a guy here, Albert. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, you're on with myself as well as Angelo. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm great.
Okay, so Angelo, can you hear okay?
Yes, I hear him.
Okay, so yeah, we wanted to know from you, what do you think about the whole balloon thing?
You are asking me or?
Yes. Where are you from? You're in South America, or where are you from?
No, I'm from Vienna,
Oh, Vietnam.
Austria.
Oh,
No, Vienna,
oh,
Austria.
Vienna. Okay, got it. Okay, so yeah, what do you think about the whole balloon situation that we've been discussing here?
I didn't get the question. I mean, I just came right now here in this group.
Yeah, Angelo, how would you question it? How would you ask him as a question?
Well, I mean, he just came in, and he's probably never seen the video or never heard of it. So he's kind of new to this. But there has
But-
been.
Did you hear anything in the news about the balloons over the States as well as
Yes, in
other places?
the States and Canada, there has been
Canada, States,
unidentified objects that were
like UFO, basically, unidentified flying object. Have you heard
Yeah.
anything
that were
in the
flying
news over there?
over Alaska, over parts of California, and
About balloons?
Lake Yukon.
Yeah, the spy balloons up in the sky. Yes.
No, I didn't hear about it.
Okay.
Oh, so in Europe you didn't hear anything, right?
I'm pretty sure they heard it.
Yes.
Not aware of it. He's not aware.
Okay, all right.
What?
I'm gonna move him all down because he doesn't have any clue what we're talking about here. I don't understand what's the
Yeah, go ahead with someone else. Go.
what's the point of putting that on there?
No.
Why would you call in if you don't know anything about it?
That's
I mean, sometimes we have open chat. You can chat about whatever, but right now the discussion says right on the stream, right? How does the guy not know what we're talking about?
well, like I said, we know because we're living in the country, and
But what does he want to hear? Just his own voice or something, or what?
Uh,
Anyways, let's catch the tail end of it again.
That we are going to keep our allies and the Congress contemporaneously informed of all we know and all we learn. And I expect to be speaking with President Xi, and I hope we're going to.
You see, he even said he's going to speak to the leader in China. I don't think so, because that's not a good idea, especially since 2 days ago, the Iranian prime minister went to visit China, and Iran and China are tight. They're tight.
yes, I don't say no, but like I said, China doesn't need other allies.
No,
China-
definitely not.
Big China's very strong. China.
China can take care of themselves.
That's right. So, Iranians or the Russians or what's the other ones that are with Afghanistan and whatever. I don't believe these people actually need China, but China doesn't need them. I don't.
I still don't understand what was the guy's point to come on and not have a clue what he's talking about.
That's why I was saying. I said, do you know that there was, unidentified objects flying over Canada and U.S.
But this is all over the world. It's happening. I don't know how this guy has no clue.
and then Lake Huron,
So he hasn't heard anything.
Yeah.
It's all over the world. It's not just here.
No, it's the whole world knows. whole.
So I don't understand what his problem was. Anyways, check it out.
Get to the bottom of this, but I make no apologies for taking down that balloon. Thank you very much.
Why have you chosen Poland for your trip?
Sir, the question was it. There's been criticism. There's been criticism that this wasn't. There's been criticism that this.
Trying to compromise by your family's business relations.
Sir, Mr. President.
His face, he's like he's got a headache or something. He can't listen to two people at one time. Did you see his face? Look at this.
Because he knows that, you know, he's
Oh,
not,
it's like-
Sir, there's been criticism.
he's not going to apologize to, you know, that the balloon has been shut down.
Yeah, but right here. Look, it's the two people are talking, and then give me a break, man. He said.
A smile to one, and then he's giving.
But he
the
can't
That
hear.
was done because of political pressure.
You can come to my office and ask a question when you have more polite people.
Mr. President,
He said you can come to my office and ask a question where we have more polite people. That's
Yeah.
what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try to get Andrew in here. Andrew, how are you? Yeah, where are you from, my friend?
From Ukraine. I believe we talked before, and I'm glad to see you.
Ah, okay, yes, it's been a while. So, what do you think about the whole balloon situation all over the world?
It's a funny thing, but you know, it's about those spy balloons, right?
Correct.
It's a tough topic I have because I have a very strong opinion about dictatorships, and you know, on one hand it's like kind of those media free speech stuff, and it's, you know, it's kind of funny thing, those debates. On the other hand, you know, behind all of that you know, party, we don't see the main point that specifically China has been forgiven for many years with those breaking international laws, human rights atrocities, and spy balloons. It's at the tip of an iceberg. It's just and we don't know for sure because Chinese say that it's not a spy balloon. Others say it doesn't matter. The main point that I completely agree with. It's very rarely when I agree with some Republicans or others, but we should pay attention also on other stuff like, you know, infiltrated people in the government by China all over the world. And the threat of dictatorships is that they don't have some strict laws, then they always act beyond the law, and they always can bribe, intimidate, you know, those Chinese police stations all over the world. I think it's worth much more than those balloons. Maybe you heard before that actually.
He was getting a little too political there. I don't want to make it too much about anti any country. That's not safe, especially on social media. So that was that.
Competition so that it doesn't veer into conflict. This episode underscores the importance of maintaining open lines of communication between our diplomats and our military professionals. Our diplomats will be engaging further, and I will remain in communication with President Xi. I'm grateful for the work of the last several weeks of our intelligence, diplomatic, and military professionals who have proved once again to be the most capable in the world. And I want to thank you all. Now, look, the other thing I want to point out is that we are going to keep our allies and the Congress contemporaneously informed of all we know and all we learn. And I expect to be speaking with President Xi, and I hope we are going to get to the bottom of this. But I make no apologies for taking down that balloon. Thank you very much.
Why have you chosen Poland for your trip?
Sir, the question was it? There's been criticism. There's been criticism that this wasn't. There's been criticism that this.
Trying to compromise by your family's business relations.
Sir, Mr. President, there has been criticism.
Did you overreact?
Mr. President, there has been criticism that this was an overreaction that was done because of political pressure.
You can come to my office and ask the question when you have more polite people.
Mr. President, why have you chosen Poland for your trip to mark anniversary of the war? And what's your message? What?
When are you speaking to President Xi, Mr. President?
I personally don't think he's going to speak with Xi Jinping at all. That's just my opinion. I don't think he will. Okay, Angelo, if you're still there, let me know. I'm going to end the stream right now, but I think tonight we're going to go on Twitter Spaces. For everybody else out there, if you want to get a hold of me, you can tweet me at Mavakaga, the same one, Mavakaga. And you can get a hold of me there. That was the latest from the White House earlier this afternoon, where President Biden was speaking about the balloons or lack thereof. So we're going to cut it off here. And as I said, we'll probably go on Twitter Spaces tonight to continue this conversation. If any breaking news does happen, you'll hear about it here first. But for now, we bid you an adieu. Good night. Wonderful people. Welcome back once again. Can you hear me okay? Enter the Freaky Deaky